know him from Harry Potter. You may know him from Around the World in 80 Days. But you will know him as Doctor Who. So make some noise for the one and only, the legendary, the grand, incredible David Tennant! Phenomenal.
Morning!
David, welcome, man. It's good to see you. So I think we got to go into the Q&A real quick.
Come on.
We only got 30 minutes. If you have a question for Mr. Tennant. While they're lining up, David, I wanted to tell you, I love the fact that you chose your last name in a sense because of the Pet Shop Boys.
I'm named after the lead singer of the Pet Shop Boys. Not as an act of tribute so much as it looked good on the page and I had to come up with a name really quickly. But, and then for years I never met him. This story was kind of out there. And then I went to see a show in London and he was there. And he knew the story. He was very kind and very sweet about it. But I think he was sort of wryly amused.
Wow.
Tennant, yeah.
Great story. Thanks, David. So let's go into the Q&A so we can answer as many questions. First question, please. Let's go.
Hi. Good morning, David.
Good morning.
First of all, I want to say, I know it's said yesterday, but thank you for being a strong ally, especially to trans people.
Come on.
Now for my question. If there was any part that you've already played, any character, from the Doctor to even General Krieg from Vox Machina, which one would you want to do again? If you could do any again.
I don't know. I mean, there's certain roles that you get too old for, I suppose. So it's whether you accept that or think, no, I can still play a teenager. I guess something like Hamlet is always a bit tempting as an actor. It's sort of like this incredible, and I think that's one of those parts that if you go back to at different points in your life, it would sort of different things would occur to you and resonate with you, and it's just that sort of endless bit of writing. But I'm probably too old for that now. That probably needs to be a slightly younger chap or chapette. So I don't know. I mean, if age was no option, I might be tempted to give Hamlet another go.
Good pick.
Yeah, I'll stick with that.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Let's try and get as many questions answered by David.
Hello.
Hiya. Colin Baker told us that the Doctor would revisit familiar faces, and we've seen quite a few of them right now. As a Doctor Who fan yourself, which face would you like to revisit? And I would like two answers, either dead or alive, or when the actor is still actually possible to play the part.
You mean who would I like to see come back to the show?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of what Patrick Troughton did. So I said it would be amazing. It would be lovely. I mean, really, those first three actors who are sadly no longer with us, and John Hurt, I guess, as well, who I did have the great pleasure to work with. But I suppose selfishly, as someone who's been the Doctor, it would be very lovely to be able to play alongside some of the ones that are no longer with us. It'd be amazing to do a story with like the first Doctor or Patrick Troughton or John Pertwee, which is obviously just sadly a fantasy. I've managed to do audio stories with some of the other of the older Doctors. That was a great treat. But I'd like, I mean, you know, as a fan, it's delicious when anyone shows up again, isn't it? You know, it's as long as they don't overdo it, as long as there's always a little treat, a little Easter egg, then I'm up for all of it.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks. Next question, hey.
Hello.
Hi. I loved your appearance at the Comedy Store, and I just wanted to ask how that came about, and if you enjoyed it, and if you would like to do more improv.
This was something I did at the Comedy Store in London, where there's a very famous comic in the UK called Paul Merton. I don't know if he's known out here, but he's a very, very witty, very quick-minded, very sort of slightly anarchic comic. does this improv night at the Comedy Store in London, and he just asked me if I would do it, along with him and his partner Suki, who are these great improvisers. And it was just sort of going along and playing these comedy improv games, not my comfort zone. And I just sort of, I was in a bit, it's the sort of thing I would usually say no to, but I was in one of those moods where I was going to say, I shall say yes to things, I shall resist nothing. So I sort of gave in a moment of weakness, and then had to turn up and play these comedy improv games. Terrifying, like jumping out of a plane, scary. But because they're so good at it, it was very supporting and it was fun, it was really good fun. Whether I do it again, I don't know, there's something, when you do something like that and you get away with it, and it doesn't end in absolute disaster, the temptation is to go, I'll do it again, and then your sensible brain goes, you got away with it once,
Right.
walk away.
Well, you can.
Yeah, so the jury's out.
Yeah, you were brilliant.
Well, you're very kind, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, a round of applause. Next question.
You don't know, but very few of you saw it. I might have been terrible. Hello.
Hi. So knowing that Doctor Who has a lot of fan-made things from audio adventures and everything, have you ever had the chance to see or listen to some of them, and what were your thoughts about them?
Well, I suppose it's a fine line between fan-made and very high-end professional productions, isn't it? Because I think, like the Big Finish audio series, which has been running for years now, kind of came out of fan-made stuff and then became something which is now very much part of the Doctor Who universe, and done at such a high level with some brilliant actors and amazing writers, and so I mean the sort of work they do is fantastic, and I guess it's now, I suppose, when it becomes just part of that's part of the canon, I guess, isn't it? So when does one tip over into the other? I don't know. But I mean, as a Doctor Who fan, I always love whenever I see Doctor Who anywhere, in anything. And I'm delighted that it continues to be such a thriving world, on screen and off. So, I think it speaks to the brilliant central idea of what Doctor Who is. There's something alchemical about that show that has inspired generations of people. Some of them go on to work on the actual show on TV, some of them go on to write novels about it, some of them go on to write these amazing audio dramas that I've had the great pleasure to be involved in now as well. And then, as you say, and there's a sort of whole world of fan fiction, and some of that goes to some very interesting places. And that's probably not for me to necessarily look up.
All right, great, thank you. Thanks, next question.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm not going to ask you any questions about the future of your acting career.
Okay.
You'll just beat around the bush. It will mess your contract. But what was the hardest act you ever did in your whole entire career?
Whoa, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
hardest is, to be absolutely honest, the hardest things are often if you end up working on a script that doesn't quite make sense, or and then your job is to kind of paper over the cracks a little bit.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So often the hardest stuff doesn't necessarily, because if it's hard sort of emotionally, or hard, if the words are hard to master, or the thoughts are complicated, or the emotions are deep or sweeping, or that's kind of what you're after as an actor, the sort of the stuff that feels a bit chewy and a bit difficult.
More unrealistic.
Yeah, so actually,
Difficult to act on.
yeah, although that can be challenging, I wouldn't describe it necessarily as hard, because it's challenging is also sort of what you're chasing. The hard stuff is when it doesn't quite make sense, or when the script is a little bit dodgy, and really your job is then to kind of make it sound like words that a human being might say.
Undodgy.
Yeah. So that's probably harder, although it's not necessarily challenging in the way that one might imagine, I think.
Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
All right, let's try and get as many questions answered by David as we can.
Hey,
Hi.
hi.
You said yourself in the past that Casanova was kind of your audition for Doctor Who.
Yes.
What do you remember of the audition for Casanova itself?
That there were lots of them. That there were multiple sort of steps. And I had to keep going back in. There's a place in Leicester Square called the Spotlight, which is where a lot of auditions for lots of things happen in London. It's a little set of rooms, and they get hired out by casting directors, and you go in and you all sit outside with your little, pages that you're desperately trying to sort of memorise. And there was loads of scenes. And I remember going in for the audition for Casanova, and all the sort of young bucks of the day were all there, being very sort of confident and good looking. And I remember going in and thinking, I do not have a chance for this, because it was all the guys that were doing and have continued to do sort of great, wonderful things. So I remember feeling like I didn't have a hope, and then getting called back a couple of times and realising that obviously there was something about it was all, listen, this didn't come from me. Russell T Davies's writing was so good and so funny and so quick, and I really responded to that, and I really enjoyed it. So actually, even though I kept going back and thinking this is never going to go to me, I actually quite enjoyed it, just because there were some great scenes to learn and enjoy playing with. So I remember it being I feeling like it was quite low pressure, because I really didn't think I had a chance, and quite enjoying myself.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Up next, hello.
Hello.
So, when you read the scripts that you got offered, what are the...
Oh, sorry, say that again?
When you read the scripts that you got offered, what are the things that draw you in? Like, what are you looking for, and what makes you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this one?
It's a very good question, and I never really have a very solid answer for that. I never quite know. It's just a sort of sense of something. It's just when something's well written, it just comes alive. It's just exciting, and you think, oh, this is sort of, I can imagine this. I can imagine myself, and I think often the thing that makes you think I want to do this is the thought that I don't want anyone else to do this. This sort of weird kind of act of vanity selfishness, where you're going to go, I really like this and I don't want to give it away, so I want to make sure that I get to do it. So it comes from a slightly weird, needy place.
Wow.
If a script just kind of connects with you.
Could you say it's a combination of the writing and the needy thing?
Yeah, but it always comes from the writing.
Right, yeah.
Always does, because you can mess up a good script, but you can't make a bad script good.
Exactly.
It so starts from that, what's on the page, and if that kind of comes off the page and lights up your imagination, then you know it's one to try and treasure.
Great, thanks. That's the same with songs, actually. Thanks.
Yeah.
You can't make a good song bad, and you can't really...
It's the raw material, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
I wanted to ask if after playing Doctor Who, after all the trench coats and suits, your fashion style changed at all?
Oh, I see. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I think partly the sort of what I wore as the Doctor slightly came. Louise Page, the costume designer, was brilliant and had an eye for style that I couldn't match. But I certainly had input into what that look would be. So I guess in a way it came from the sort of things that I would feel comfortable wearing anyway. So certainly the kind of shapes of what the Doctor was wearing were similar to shapes that I would wear in life. So I don't know, it probably evolved alongside. It's that weird thing, because obviously when you take on someone like Doctor Who, suddenly people are looking at you in a way that I didn't have before that. So you become slightly more self-conscious, which probably does have an influence on what one's own personal. But the idea that I have a personal style, I find ludicrous. So I find it, I don't really know how to answer your question because I don't really know what that means.
Can I add something onto this? Yesterday, somebody asked you to show off your socks.
Oh yeah.
You want to do that today, or?
I think that's a lovely song. You?
It's a great song. Classic TV colors.
It's a bit more, yeah.
David Byrne, Talking Heads-ish.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah.
80s.
Oh, it's quite nice taking these boots off. It's hot, isn't it? I'm going to do this barefoot. Oh yeah, come on.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hello.
Hi.
So my question was, when you played the doctor in between scenes, did you ever play around or flip the screwdriver that you had?
You mean, did I ever play with the props?
Yeah. Or like, for example, just flipping it like...
And sometimes break them and get into trouble from the prop department. And end up causing people to have to work through their lunch hour to refix something that I'd broken. Which I didn't have to break if I just kept my hands to myself. That never happened. So, could have been awful, but because I'm very responsible, the answer is no. Hello.
How are you?
Good, how you doing?
Never been better. And you said in an interview that your favorite clothes in Good Omens is the white suit when going to heaven. And my question is, among all your characters you have played, just for image, which is your favorite and which is the one you think the best looking as it can be different? Like for me, I think the best looking one is Crowley in 1941. But my favorite one is David Tennant wearing the same great top in stage 4 whole season.
That was my own top. I don't know really. There's a lot of questions about clothes here which make me feel like I'm much more stylish than I am. Although, good socks, right? All I'll say to this is wait till they have an outfit in series 3. That's all I'll say to this. Thank you.
thanks. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, I have to say that you are my doctor,
Oh,
and even 2 of my doctors.
thank you very much, yes.
But my question is not about the doctor. Thanks to you, I have seen a lot of Shakespeare in English.
Oh, thank you.
And I realized how much deeper it is in original than in the best translation. So my question is, what non-English play would you like to read in original if you could, or probably you already have? Thank you.
Great question. If I already had it, would mean I had a grasp of languages, which sadly I don't. So I've never been able to read any sort of great text in a language other than English because I have the sort of benefit / disadvantage of growing up as an English speaker, which means we are all very lazy at learning other languages, which is a shame on us. I would love to read Chekhov in the original Russian because I can only imagine the nuance and all the different sort of grace notes that I'm missing in what are still wonderful plays in translation. I suppose when we read plays in translation, it becomes an act. The translation becomes an act of art itself, and it's as much to do with who has done the translation and you know where they what they have done with the story, and inevitably there's a buffer between ourselves and the original work, which could be a wonderful positive thing, but also is something of a distancing. So I'm sad that I probably never will learn Russian well enough.
But your Russian accent is great.
Well, thank you very much.
I know that it is great.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks.
But yes, I still don't have the language, unfortunately. So yes, probably I'd love to read Uncle Vanya in the original Russian.
I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I said thanks because I thought she was finished, but now it looks like I said thanks for your Russian.
I appreciate it. I'll take it.
Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, I want to say thank you for your personal attention to everyone.
Oh.
Personally to me, because I completely forgot to say it yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
And my question is, which character from all of them was the most difficult for you to play emotionally, I mean?
Emotionally, yeah. Oh God, I mean, you know, I think probably something that interesting. We were just talking about Russian, and a few years ago I played Alexander Litvinenko, who was a Russian dissident who was poisoned in the UK, and it's a deeply moving story, and I told the story of his last days in hospital, and it's a deeply moving story anyway, and I got to know his wife and spoke to her, and I was so moved by her personal kind of experience of that I think probably telling that story, telling a man who was murdered for doing the right thing.
I'm very glad to hear it.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we got about 7 minutes left for a few great questions.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, if you had to repeat one day of your life over and over again, like some sort of Groundhog Day, which day would you choose?
Which day of my life would I mean, probably the day I got married. It was really cool. I really liked it. Is that a really soppy, obvious answer? It's true, it was really good fun. And it really worked out. So, it was just a really fun, happy day, surrounded by friends, and and it's still paying dividends, so I can't, I'm very happy about that. Thank you.
Thanks. Next one.
Hi.
Hello.
First of all, congratulations to your nomination for the National TV Award for Rivals.
What? I didn't know we had one. Have we?
Thank you, we got a nomination, yeah, this year.
Has that just happened?
Yeah, yesterday, I suppose.
Brilliant.
Spicy questions from Rivals. Having seen it, there is a lot of skin in it, okay? And I wondered if, when you're signing your contracts, is there some chapter saying 30 seconds boobs, 20 seconds butt? And if there is something like that, which kind of contract did you sign?
Oh, all these things are, quite rightly, done in great detail at contract stage, of course, because everyone has to feel comfortable about what they're being asked to do. And in a show like Rivals, in which there is quite a lot of skin, as you very euphemistically put it, and thank you for that, because it's a family audience, it's a Sunday morning. You have to be very clear about if there's something you are not willing to share with the wider public, you have to be very specific about that. But then there's also, so there are things set down. If there's something you're not willing to show specifically, or something you're not willing to enact, you have to be very clear about that up front. And then there will be conversations specific to individual scenes, and that's where intimacy coordinators have been a great addition to our industry, to make sure everyone feels safe, everyone feels looked after, nobody feels exploited. And luckily on Rivals that was all handled extremely well, and continues to be handled extremely well, and everyone feels very safe. And then in a way that allows everyone to sort of get a bit bolder and be sort of freer with what they do, because if you feel safe, you don't feel like it's an exploitative thing, and you feel like, we can tell this story, and here's my bum, whatever it might be.
Yeah, great, but that's very important.
It's really important, and it's fantastic, and on the show like Rivals, it's part of the storytelling. Yeah. We're telling a lot of stories, often about intimate aspects of people's lives, so you have to be able to show it, but you have to make sure everyone feels ready to do that. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hello. First of all, I want to thank you for coming here. My husband and I were big fans from Singapore, so it's really nice to see you here.
Thank you.
Among all of your amazing performance, actually, Kilgrave from Jessica Jones was the biggest impression for me.
Oh,
Inspiring my life today.
right.
So my question is, how was it like to prepare for such a character which is different from a lot of your incredible works, and if it left any impact in you?
Well, there's not a lot to, when it's not a real world situation, there's less you can, you can't go off and read up on what it would be like to have a virus that made everyone around you do exactly what you said. There's not a lot of scientific papers you can read or people who've got, real world experience. But so really in a world like that, it comes from, there's some comic books you can read and that's great. But it really came from the world, the specific version of that world that Melissa Rosenberg and the writing team on Jessica Jones created, which they did so well. They created, it was something that was very loyal to the comic book source, but was also, had a real world kind of sense of rooting it. And the consequences of what Kilgrave did and what that meant to Jessica, within the framework of a superhero show, it actually really caused something, it really meant something. It was really well written and wasn't exploitative, and actually told some stories about coercion and about consent, important kind of things that were debated in a superhero world, but without diluting the importance of those issues. I thought it was so brilliantly written and put together, and I'm really proud of that Jessica Jones show. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we got 2 minutes left, so 2 short questions. Let's go.
Hi David.
Hello.
Do you have a Good Omen's headcanon about Crowley and Aziraphale? Like, what would they do off screen that we don't see?
Well, you'll have to wait for the final installment, won't you, and find out what you get to see. Clearly they do, they hang out, they've been best friends through eternity. They're not very good at admitting that. Crowley's not very good at admitting that. Crowley's a bit reluctant to admit how much Aziraphale means to him, how much he needs Aziraphale. Aziraphale's more openly needy. But I think that probably, means, I think there's nobody else who has their experience. This sort of eternity, kind of waltzing through time, trying to figure out a moral framework for themselves. So I think they do all sorts of things together, some of which we may never see. I can only imagine. You join the dots, I don't know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, great. Last one for today.
Hi, David.
Hello.
So you've been a true ally to the trans community, and so I wanted to ask you simply, may I mark you as a guardian of the trans community by giving you this trans flag?
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you very much. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Did you make this? Did you make this?
I got it, but
Well, it's
yours now.
You're very kind.
Walk 1,000 miles for this.
Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you so much. You're very kind. Thank you, everyone.
That's great. We're going to wrap this up the right way. David, let's get in. I want everybody to get in this shot. Everybody in the crowd, let's get in the shot. Make some noise for the one and only David Tennant. Laten we nog één keer horen voor David.